Yeah, I know that you have to edit a lot out, and choosing the various things that you're going to show are very difficult. But there was an incident clearly after 9/11, may have been just a couple of years ago, where either a woman or several women on the basketball team, I think, turned their backs to the flag. If you could just briefly talk about that, I think it'd be helpful. Thank you.
I've read a lot of your stuff. I get your emails after sports, and I'm wondering, where is the? I appreciate the story being told, but where's the action after the story? Because I mean, we can all agree in it, but still, the only place I really have to go look for sports is ESPN. I mean, I can go to Edge of Sports and read your stuff, but where is the hub for this alternative look at sports? Like, why do you have to? Why is there not a hub yet? You know, where you can read William Roden, read you, read all these alternative views on sports that take on a lot of what you're doing as well. So I'm looking for that to be.
I enjoyed the film, but I have a question. The question is, you show several black athletes who've made great sacrifices and deserve to be honored, and then they focus on Michael Jordan. And he's a businessman, and I don't buy Nike, I buy New Balance. But why why just focus on these black folks on the issue of sacrifice? Shouldn't it does show Pat Tillman, but there's so many whites in business that are in athletes that are making lots of money in business, and I don't know. It seems to me you kind of pick on Jordan there. And another thing is, you point out in answering, just another question, but fast. You defend your position against Noam Chomsky. Well, and you say we should make sports better. Years and years ago, you know, Grantland Rice and a lot of people took the position that, well, it's not how you play, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game, and they promoted sportsmanship, sportspersonship, yeah. So now, sports has become such a tremendous business that they've taken all the sports, there's no more good play or how you play the game. It's all about who wins. And I saw in the Patriot game there would have been 30 unnecessary roughness calls that they didn't make now because violence sells sports.
Oh, we'll do the quick run through. First of all, the woman who turned her back on the flag, her name's Tony Smith. She played for Manhattanville. She's a very dear friend of mine, actually, and that was something that was considered, certainly, to be a part of it. Tony's tremendous, and she's somebody who, if any of you are on a campus and want to bring her out to speak about her experience, that's something that should be done. And you're absolutely right about this. When you're making a film that's under an hour about this subject, the cuts are ruthless, the cuts are brutal, the cuts are painful, and I'm proud of what we ended up with. I think if we had a longer film, Tony's a part of the story, definitely. I mean, because it is an amazing story, and it's certainly a life-changing one for me, getting to know her, and I wrote about it a great deal when she was around. That was your only question, right? Second, about your question, which was about how to find the alternative viewpoints, or was that the only one you asked?
Where the action is.
Where the action is. Two things. First of all, there's an activism piece to this, and there's an organization that I'm on the board of called the Sports Fan Coalition that I would just recommend people check out if you're interested in like the kind of grassroots action that's particularly around the corporate gouging that's connected with sports and stadium funding and the rest of it, and the way stadiums are used as almost like these neoliberal Trojan horses in our communities. That would be something I would highly, highly recommend. As far as like a central web hub that has people who try to write about sports from a standpoint that speaks more to critical thinking or resistance, I mean, I think it's a brilliant idea. I mean, I love the idea. I've been fighting for years to get the Nation to do like just an all sports issue, and we're going to do it for the first time in a few months, and I'm very excited about that. But that's only one issue. It'll be here for a week and then it'll be gone. I mean, I would love for there to be like a central web hub that would have that would be able to centralize everybody who does this kind of work. And you know, copyright laws are kind of loose on the internet, so if anybody wants to take that up, I would say please have at it. I'd certainly like to see it. And then the last question. I mean, first of all, about Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali. When ESPN did their list of the 100 most influential athletes of the 20th century, it was Ali 2 and Jordan 1. And so it's like, on this very question, it transcends the question of race and racism. And it has to do with like actual cultural influence on generations of athletes. And that's a question about Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan. And the fact that they dramatically represent two profoundly different approaches to sports. I mean, Muhammad Ali once threw his championship belt in the garbage and said, "Damn the white man's money." I mean, Jesus. And you compare that to Jordan's approach, and athletes call themselves the sons of Jordan. Male athletes in the NBA in particular. And they don't mean that they're trying to be as good players as him. It totally is a question about how they see themselves relative to corporate America. And so his influence is so profound, we had to take it on. And then when you had like LeBron James, who is arguably the most prominent young athlete in the country, say explicitly, "My goals are these two things, to be a global icon like Ali and to be the richest athlete ever." I mean, that's just too juicy for Chris, me, Jeremy, Diane. I mean, you can't just leave that alone. I mean, that's just like, this is a way to actually explicate and understand these two poles. And then just the last thing about sports personship, if you will. I mean, it's the thing that bothers me the most is not pro sports being hyper competitive, because I get why it's hyper competitive. I mean, average NFL career 3.5 years, baseball, basketball 5 years, 6 years. These guys, men and women, are playing for a very short period of time to make as much money as possible. The overwhelming majority from impoverished backgrounds. I get the dynamics at work in professional play. What bothers me, and where I think we all have a role to play, is in the professionalization of youth sports, which I think is just an absolute obscenity. And the way these youth coaches see themselves as like little Lombardis, and we did some of that in the movie. Like that's might be my most favorite scene in the movie is the guy who's like, "I am Caesar, and have mercy on your soul because I won't." And then you see like all these little kids like, "Yay!" and they're running out. You're just like, "Jesus." So that's where it's like we can actually intervene as well and say, well, wait a minute. Nobody's getting paid for being out here, and this is about actually trying to teach basic skills, camaraderie, teamwork, exercise, heaven forfend. Because what upsets me the most about the professionalization of youth sports, and this connects to why I like sports like Derby so much, is that it sends a message that says if you're really, really talented and good and recognized as such starting at age 10, then you get to play. Everybody else, you get to watch. And if, oh, by the way, you get childhood diabetes or obesity in the process, hey, them's the breaks. But you're a sitter and a watcher, and these special folks over here are the players. That to me is so disgusting, especially when it's dialed down to the youth level.